feel called.
It takes a village.
Hi everyone, I'm Ewan Crouch. I have the great privilege of chairing the board at Mission Australia, and the board gives its time in a voluntary capacity, and it's just fantastic.
I'm Mark Brown. I'm a physician, and I've been having the privilege of working at the Mission Australia Centre at Surrey Hills, doing a medical clinic with my wife on a monthly basis for the last few years, and that too is fantastic. Ewan, I've had a look at your CV. If I'm correct, you're a busy lawyer on the board of Westpac, Sydney Symphony Orchestra, and you chair Mission Australia. So my first question is, do you ever get to sleep?
Yes, I do, Mark. It's I really feel very fortunate. I'm thoroughly enjoying this phase of life. So I'm a Christian person, and I was looking for an opportunity to serve a Christian organisation, and I was approached to see whether I might be interested to join the board. And the first thing the then chairman, a wonderful man called Charles Chambers, said was, "Not a lawyer." However, fortunately, the conversation went a bit further than that.
Many would share the Christian faith, myself included, about the reasons for being involved, but there's probably also the humanitarian side, independent of the Christian faith, which I think these days is relevant to the broader community, and there's a lot of people who will not profess the Christian faith anymore. But as a group, I think that your board must consider of how do we attach and get that group of people to be as involved in a Christian organisation as they could be.
Mission Australia has two purposes. It's to spread the knowledge of the love of God as revealed in Jesus Christ, and to meet human need. What the world at large sees is the meeting of human need. What the activities in Mission Australia are directed towards is the meeting of human need. But the motivation of those who get involved around the board table and in the senior leadership positions comes from their faith. We are a broad church. In fact, we're so broad that we encompass a multiplicity of faiths, and even have people who work for us who have no faith at all. It's not our mission to convert everybody who works with us into the Christian faith, but rather to show that love that flows from that Christian faith through the words and the actions in meeting the needs with the various services that we provide.
I think it's that intersection, isn't it, of having a desire to do something for someone, having some skills that you want to be able to utilise, and then the opportunity that arises. And my wife, who's a nurse, and myself had put out the feelers to the organisation as to whether they were interested in our skills to be used for assessing the medical needs of the homeless. And it was around the time, I think, of your organisation's review of the medical needs, where I think it was some astounding figure, like 85% of the residents had never had a proper medical assessment. So it coincided at that time with the need for getting better medical attention for the homeless in your organisation, or our organisation, and we were able to tap into that at the time. And it's been, like you say, challenging as well as very rewarding. I think you've got something like 3,500 volunteers in the organisation.
It's a very large number. We're very blessed in that regard.
It's great, and it's, I guess, attaching the skills of people to the needs of the organisation that you've identified through that research. You wouldn't want my handyman skills, for example, that's for sure.
It's horses for courses.
It is horses for courses, yeah. I mean, my wife and I on the way home will pretty much have the same conversation most times about how lucky we are, how blessed we are to have a family that gets on well, and the resources that we happen to have in our community that those guys haven't had. And I think that's the other side of what you're doing, and what volunteers do, is to, gives you that little bit of a check on the appreciation of what you've got as well.
Oh, it certainly does. One of the great privileges I've had as chairman is to go to Triple Care Farm at the end of the year and speak at the graduation ceremony. And I was talking with one man afterwards, And he looked at me, and we were similar in age and similar in background. And in fact, there were remarkable similarities. He said, I'm happily married, I live in a nice suburb, I've got a good job, I've got 3 children. He had 2 girls and a boy, and I had 2 girls and a boy. And I said, yep. And he said, how is it that my son, at the age of 15, really left home uncontrollable, riddled with drugs and alcohol? What happened? And the answer was nothing had happened in their family about all of that. But then they almost lost their son. And he came into Triple Care Farm a couple of years later through a program and was coming out. And things weren't entirely fixed then, but he was just so grateful. And you stand back and you just cut to the core by hearing those sort of stories. And then so grateful that there was something that actually could be done about it through the services and the people at Triple Care Farm.
Yes, we've seen many similar stories.
I'm sure you have.
Many similar ones, And the organisation should take great credit for what it achieves with the people at the MAC. And it is very rewarding, isn't it, when you see one of the guys there who've literally come off the street, no prospect of a job, no prospect of anywhere to live, medical, mental health issues, etc. 3 or 4 months later, able to get back into the community is an outstanding achievement by the staff there, and it's very rewarding, I think.
I mentioned earlier that I was on the board of BlueScope Steel. We have a program at Bellambi, just north of Wollongong, which is called Soft Landings, which provides work opportunities for people who are on remand, long-term unemployed people, and it's a mattress recycling business. So being able to connect up the people there with some people at BlueScope and get someone to buy the sort of scrap steel, which was, provided some of the economics of the program. So that's the background. There was a major building opened in Wollongong last year, which was developed by GPT. I think it's called Wollongong Central. And it's got some steel structures on the outside. To have our team come along and say, that's got the steel in it that we recycled out of these mattresses, and we can see where it went. It was just great to see. It was almost in a way seeing scales fall from people's eyes too, with some of the corporate people who were there, as to really emphasising the role that they can play in some of that.
Some very good moments. Some of the guys there who didn't know that they had things like hepatitis C, things that can be treated. And you talked before about the engagement with others, and I've been very fortunate. Some of my colleagues at St George Hospital where I work, I've said to them, look, we're going to need more specialised assistance here with the hepatitis C program, and Professor Zekri and her team there have said, yeah, sure, no problem. And we've now actually established a liver clinic at the Mission Australia Centre in between our clinics, and that's very rewarding to see the engagement of your colleagues in that. But that will have a direct effect on these people's lives. They will live longer as a consequence of that treatment. And recently too, a young fellow whose parents came with him each time, distraught parents, over a similar story to what you told before, who was at university doing outstandingly well, and then through drug and alcohol abuse has developed a number of mental health issues, but wouldn't engage in the mental health treatment side of things, as is commonly the problem. And through a number of meetings and getting him there and assessing things little bit by little bit and gaining his confidence, he's now got into a program, and there's some optimism that that'll change his life around, and his parents are ecstatic.
I certainly think that my personal experience of volunteering is that I have been richly blessed by what I've been able to be involved in. It's just developed me as an individual, it's improved my wisdom, it's improved my understanding, it's given me a broad range of conversation, it's stopped me being too narrowly focused, it's made me a lot more understanding of situations. I just could go on and on with the blessings.
I'd share similar views to that. Wendy and I will commonly talk about after the clinic, what we've seen, how lucky we are, an appreciation of things you might not have appreciated so much before. And like you say, it just really broadens your mind. You know, after more than 35 years in medicine, I thought I'd seen a fair bit of life, but I've seen a whole lot more in the last few years at the Mission Australia Centre than I'd seen before. So it does broaden your views on life, and I think it's a very positive and very rewarding thing.